Hi, this video is about working and middle class progress. It's there to thank for society's progress. Whereas the state superstructure is certainly not. They are propagandists. They try to block all progress. They try to keep us down. They never do anything. Now, 1945 was the last time we had any really good progress in the UK. We had universal healthcare and education. Now, about the things that have ever happened over time, going further back than that, we had votes for women. And as we go a bit further ahead, we had working class access into uni. But generally, 1945 was the last time of real substance. Think about votes for working class and stuff like that. But state pension, but the last time we had real progress was 45, I think, and that was because of World War II. World War II, because when they tried to do the usual propaganda, saying, we can't have this Marxist, Leninist, communist crap that's going to destroy our nation. What is this Soviet Union takeover? Extreme and all this. How can we afford this anyway? People thought, how can we afford this? Oh yeah, well, let's think. We just had World War II. We seem to afford more than just the law and order. And yet the usual things were coming out like that, saying, how can we afford this? 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 The usual repetition, mantra, and slogans and terms of commie Marxist and all this. And saying that the state can only ever do limited things, because the state can't do everything. Even though I just thought World War II, and this, on the one hand, the usual propaganda was coming out. On the other hand, people could all see through it because we just had World War II. So the propaganda didn't work. It didn't divide the working class, didn't stop the progress for once. Okay, let me just come back. This was a disaster for the propagandists, but for the last 80 years, they've had relative success in stopping further progress. Not entirely, but quite a lot. And when you see working class progress, by the way, think of people. I know these are attractive women, but they are popular and they are successful. Anna Friel and Michelle Keegan. Now, they wouldn't have even had free education to learn to read and write. Never mind to go to uni, drama school, and whatever, to get ahead. And yet then they're portrayed on these soaps, and before them in the black and white sets, working class actresses and working class actors before them who wouldn't have had the opportunity to get ahead, to get them roles, never mind to be starring in them. You know what I mean? And I think that working class portrayal on those programs symbolised the progress that working class were making in real life. If those Anna Friel, Michelle Keegan, well, they would have been thought of as useless working class. What's the point of giving them any opportunity to go to school or to get uni education? And in the Victorian era, because they would have been born in a working class background, it's almost certain their parents would have been unable to read and write. So they wouldn't have got there through their parents. Not in the vast majority of cases. So what happened in 45? Well, I've already explained that. World War II, that stopped the propaganda working and made it laughable when they tried it. So that's why that failed. Even though propaganda had just been perfected in the Second World War, it couldn't work straight after World War II. Now, society is generally cooperative. When people meet in the streets, when there is something that divides people, then politely sometimes won't pretend it isn't dividing them, or they will feel a bit antagonistic and maybe say something. But generally we're cooperative, and it's the things that are from the propaganda matrix, from the elites, from the top, that do poison the wards. That's always the case, almost always. I mean, obviously, it might be a relationship issue, but generally it's that. And the state superstructure is deliberately designed to be vastly unequal, to look as if it's for us, even though it's obviously not for us. The freedom is just cages the herd us into. The propaganda divide us. The freedom of speech is actually enslaved speech because they're gender set and they want us to parrot it. But they're okay because they've got megaphones, news media blast to millions of people. We're just meant to, then they do repetition, and we're meant to parrot it all back in our enslaved cages. The liberal left or the right, centre right, it's ridiculous. These things like liberal left and centre right, libertarian, Republican, Democrat, all that's about is part of the labels that they use and terms they use to do that manipulation and keep themselves at the top and us down here while thinking we have freedom of speech. They